I know that you're a Jersey girl inside. 4 a.m. at a diner, stop singing, living on a
And doggone it, people like me.
I'm thinking maybe you're a Jersey girl with all those highlights in your hair. No other girl can move like you. We pump our fists, damn right, it's true. And I don't care what they might say, they'll never get us anyway. So be my Jersey girl, and take a little ride with me tonight. And let's get dirty, girl. I know that you're a Jersey girl inside. The way you turn it up, turn me on, and then you take it off. Make it hot, make it loud, we'll wake the whole town. Jersey girl, I know that you're a Jersey girl inside. Yeah, listen up. Let me tell you about a girl from Jersey. She was looking so fine with her hips so curvy. I wanna over down and see side lights and a boardwalk fight at the end of the night. Hey, hold up, got a situation, got a conversation from the girl's gyration. She's hot like the girl next door with a tig gold bitties that I can't ignore.
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
I'd be a boss, you'd be my muse.
Hello, hello. Happy Monday. Welcome and sunshine. This is Shelly, your mouthy mama with Talking Trash and Truths. And you have found Coffee and Chaos with T3. That's me. I have no coffee, but I have tons of chaos. So if I don't have one, I always have the other. Just taking a look out. Let's see. Hello to Daisy Girl, my girl. She said, good morning, Shelly and chat. Checking in because I missed everyone the last few days. Aw, and we miss you. I did have fun with the stream you sent me to Friday, though. Oof. The meme copium stream with Captain Have Nuts. Oh, yeah, that was a treasure. That was a treasure. It was worth the membership fee. So worth it. I'm having some device issues with adapter charging, staying charged. Don't already. Just take it easy. See if you clean out the port on your phone. You probably have dust in it from your pocket or whatever. Edith said, other way, it's good to have you here. Edith said, good M, Jolly Love. Hey, sweet, said Daisy. Rabbit. Good day, Rabbit. She's got a doctor's appointment this morning and a respiratory test. I'm glad you're going. Take care of you. There's only one of you, lady. Lady Awesome. What's up? She said, Grand Rising, beautiful souls. Everybody's saying good morning. It said it's cold as a witch's booby in a brass bra this morning. Ouch. That's very cold. I always say on really cold days, you could just chisel. Just if you can chisel, it's way too cold. Shizzy, what's up, my man? Shizzy with the golden voice. What you call it? There was quite a bit going on last night. I have to go. I saw that you went live on Twitter. I can't get it to do it that way. You're gonna have to show me how, because it just doesn't work that way, and I'm completely lost on Twitter. I refuse to call it X, because if I say, "Hey, Shizzy, show me how to post on X," that's a whole different conversation. So he said, "Hope you had a great weekend." It was a weird weekend. I'll give you that. Shizzy, hey hun, just got done watching the replay from last night. Oh my god, you expert. Baker Farrell was crazy. Oh my goodness. See, now I absolutely have to go back and listen to it. I enjoy them. I think they're so funny. And they're like, I know they're supposed to be ambiance and everything, but I mean, I get that from you all the time. So I think when you do it on purpose, it misses the mark. I just listen to how funny you guys are, because I do really enjoy the show. But it sounds so fun posting on X. Yeah, a lot of things sound fun on X until you actually do them, I heard. I think I'd have more fun if I was the one on X, but I always wind up stuck with somebody who's on X, and I'm just like, what is wrong with you? I can't. Shizzy was nuts on Meme Show too. Oh, yes, he was. That whole stream, I can't. I can't. Shelly, it was on MG's. They started playing that game. Jackbox Valhalla showed up. Oh my god. Oh my god, really? You're gonna have to send me the link to that so that I could see it. But no, I watched Meme's whole show and I went, in time with chat and I'm going back and forth and I'm just like, bro, never piss off chat. What is wrong with you? Like, I would piss off anybody in the world except my chat. Nope. And I especially wouldn't piss off somebody else's chat, especially somebody, who has like dedicated chat. And we know how protective Memes chat can get. I think he's just lucky Gene wasn't there. But yeah, that's oof. But it was hilarious from start to finish. It really was. I enjoyed it. I didn't take part in it, but I enjoyed it after the fact. Well, it actually started with Diva, Shizzy, Volstorm, Kaiser, story reading chat. Yeah, I started like an hour before, and oh my god, the whole night, the chat has never liked that chat has never liked Cap Nuts. Well, I mean, show me one that does. Well, never mind. You don't have to. I know one that does. So you have to watch Shizzy's stream, then go to MG's. Okay. No problemo. I'll do that later when I'm waiting for groceries. This weekend I just felt, remember I told you guys on Friday, I'm just a little to the left, right? Like I'm a little off kilter. Or all right, for those where I stand now, I'm a little to the right. So it's just, I'm just a little off center. I've been off center, like just very anxious, very, very, very hyper vigilant. Like every time somebody says something, I'm ready to pop off and be like, "Rah!" Because it's just, I feel very defensive. And I felt that way for like days. And then this weekend happened and I was like, oh, now I know. I was feeling like the tension and then going up to like a blow up. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I can't be bothered. I can't. I listened to it. It was all bullshit. It was like, whatever. And I moved on. I went and did my show with Winning and we had a great time. We watched Idiocracy after we watched The Trap Part 3. The Trap Part 3 was good, but Idiocracy, oh my God. All I could picture was this is what the world would look like if we had nothing left but trolls. Like that's what the world would look like, is that movie. It had me hysterical. I had to keep muting myself because otherwise like Winning was going to be like, would you just shut up? Because I just kept laughing and I couldn't stop. Like some of them were like guffaws. I was like, oh no. I was like, I see where this is going. And I just mute myself. But Idiocracy was really, really good. We watched it on Rumble because, YouTube has issues with that. But yeah, we watched it and then it was like an hour and a half long, but it was really good. I recommend if you're not like in a great mood, or even if you are in a great mood and want to stay there, like if you want to have a good laugh, just go watch it. Etta said, so you have to watch Shizzy's stream, then go to MG's. I'll send you the links in DM. You'll laugh your ass off. I hope so. Wait, what happened? I've been sick. I missed Winning last night, but that was Shizzy's fault. I lost track of time. I was laughing so hard. Oh no, there was a whole cope and seethe stream that somebody put on, and I don't want to get into it. But I mean, it's out there. It was it held my fascination in the way when you're driving down the road and you're driving past a wreck, you kind of want to see it until you see the foot, and then you're just like, no, it's too much for me. No, I shouldn't have looked. That's kind of how last night was for me. It was pure fascination because I'm curious as fuck. And then once I was witness to it, I was just like, yeah, no, this isn't for me. Like, this isn't my cup of tea. And that was that. Like, what people do is their business. They need to keep my name out of their mouth. That would be nice. But it is what it is. I can't help it. I've never been different. I've always been me. I've never been perfect. I've always held myself accountable for everything. So when people, say that, oh, she said bullshit. Send me the link later, girl. If you think about it, I miss little things. I stumble on some. Oh yeah, no, I'll send you the link if you want. That's not a problem. Let me make a note. Send you this link to. Anyway. Well, you can't put the shit back in the horse, so you just got to deal with what comes out. Lady Awesome. Edith, you adore me for just being me. Well, I'm not the easiest person to get along with. I'm not the hardest one either, though. Generally, I'm pretty accommodating. I have a very hard time saying no. I don't like for people to have conflict with me at all. And I like when other people are happy. However, when I stop seeing you as a person, you got a problem. So I've always said, not everybody in your life is a loss. Unless it's me, then you fucked up. I don't have a whole lot of self-esteem, but what I have is solid. So it's like, whatever. I wanted today not to be about that, but it did bring up a lot of similar feelings for me. It being the holiday season and Thanksgiving snuck up on me. I wasn't ready for it. I mean, I have the turkey and everything, and I have all the fixings that I need, and I have more groceries coming later. But as far as the whole holiday season, I'm not ready. I'm just not. It's not like it used to be for me. It used to be all about big family and get-togethers and tons of preparation. And my grandmother would have me helping her prepare food for like days, sometimes weeks, depending on if we were doing like different pastas or whatever, because she could freeze them and they were just, they'd come out just as good as if she just made them. So we could do different things ahead of time and, make thousands of cookies and make the strudel, which is like the honey balls. It's like a ring of honey balls. That was a pain in the ass, but hers were so good. Oh, they were so good. Make all the different cookies, which I still made up until 2 years ago. Well, no, up until Coof, because I used to make them for everybody at work. So I would make thousands of cookies. I have pictures of it, that like my entire kitchen table with the 3 extra leaves in it, like huge table, just covered in cookies, handmade cookies, hand iced cookies. And people loved it. They looked forward to it every year. And because they knew that I didn't have a lot. I was raising 2 kids by myself, no child support, no nothing, on a really shitty salary. And I just didn't have it. I didn't have it to spend on everybody I want to. And I wanted to give somebody, like, something to everybody that I worked with, everybody that, meant anything to me. And every year I used to make the same joke. I need to like less people. Well, I got my wish. See, you put that shit out there and the universe goes, oh, you want less people in your life? Give me a minute. And that's what it gives you. It robs you of everything. So be careful with your words. You might not know that you're manifesting your future, but you are. Winning yells at me every time. Well, he never yells at me, but he always corrects me whenever I say, oh, fuck my life. And he's like, stop saying that. And I'm like, why? Because I don't think about it. I just say it. It's just one of the things I say. And it's so automatic. I can't even stop myself half the time. And he's just like, don't put that out there. Like, you say it and it's going to happen. Like, stop. And I'm like, all right, have a fucking duck. I knew, well, that's your choice. But it's like, how about you just not say that? But I got to say something. There's some sort of expletive that I have to say. It makes me feel better. Okay. You know, y'all talk your way, I talk mine. But I have been making a real big effort to stop saying like fuck my. I'm like fuck my. I try to like bite my tongue. I almost choke on it because I'm like Jesus. And as you know, I rarely choke on things, but especially my words. And so it's weird to be like, all right. I'm trying to be more cognizant of what I say. I'm trying to be more aware of how it can be perceived by, I guess, a higher power. What I put out there isn't necessarily what I want to put out there. It's not what I want to come back at me. And I'm very, very bad at doing the positive manifestation. But that's my shortcoming. He just said, this year will be a quiet one. I have some medical stuff coming up, so no big dinner and all that jazz. Probably just get a boob and cook a small feast. Get a boob. All right. Little turkey breast. I got my free turkey breast. It's coming today. But I already had a small turkey. A small frozen turkey that's defrosting rapidly. It is, you and Winning are such a positive relationship for each other. I love seeing friends being supportive to each other. Oh yeah, no, we're good. We have our times where we butt heads once in a while because we're both very strong personalities. And it's surprising how easily we get along, given that we are such strong personalities. We both have very set ideas in our heads, and we can be a little stubborn, a little bit. He always says he'd rather know the truth than be right, but make no mistake, he loves being right. he will talk you into the ground if he knows he's right. And if he doesn't know that he's right, he will talk you into the ground trying to figure out how to get to that place where he's right, where he knows the truth, and now he's set, he's more confident in it. I'm just like, no, this is what I think, and fuck you. Like, I'll argue with you the whole time. But for the most part, I don't have a lot of that fight that he does. He's got a lot of fire when it comes to the things he believes in. And while I do for some things, I don't have the energy to devote to it right now. So I'm better in a supportive role. This is what I do. This is my stage. This is where I come up here and say, hey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about all those things nobody wants to say. And, a lot of those things are hard. They're very difficult. They're deep seated, and they've been neglected for decades and avoided, like, fervently. I buried them underneath like Fort Knox. Like, I did not want to ever see any of them. And he's good for that. He's good for, you can do it. It's okay. I'm here. You're not by yourself. And that's the main thing. I don't need somebody to make up my mind for me, or to speak for me, or to tell me where to be, or to tell me who I can be friends with. I just need somebody who understands that this is me, that you get what you get. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to be fake with you in any way, shape, or form. But that doesn't make me easy. It doesn't make me easy to handle. I have so many issues. I mean, everybody does. Mine just tends to be like really aggressive, but and just pop up out of nowhere. But yeah, no, we're a good team. We are. He's the best friend I got. I trust him more than I trust anybody. And it doesn't matter that I haven't seen his face. That avatar, that's just winning to me. I don't care what he looks like. I don't care what his name is. I don't care about any of that. He's winning. Call him. It's who he is. That's who he's comfortable being, everywhere. And I respect that. a lot of other people should respect it too, but they don't. They like to pick on it, and it's stupid. I use the avatar because I don't want to let down that last wall. Y'all know what I look like. I don't care. But now, no, is me being live is just, it's too much. I can't put my face out there and just be me because I'm just not comfortable being that close to anybody anymore. I'm really not. To me, it's very intimate to be able to see somebody. I understand people who keep their avatars up. I get it. You know, it's a form of protection for your family, and it's a form of self-protection too. You know, maybe someday I just want to disappear. I don't know. And maybe someday I turn on the camera. Again, I don't know. It all depends. But as long as I feel unsafe, and I feel very unsafe, that's not going to happen. Ever. Speaking of unsafe and toxic, there are people in this world who come along and, you know, sometimes they put you on your guard. Unfortunately for me, that's mostly family. I mean, they're not all bad, but the holidays do tend to bring me an extra layer of anxiety, or an extra dose of anxiety. And I don't even have to see these people anymore. It's been years since I've been even invited to a family dinner because they hate me. And it's like, all right, whatever. Because I went and did all those things I wasn't supposed to do. I moved away. I married a non-Italian. I had babies by non-Italians. Worse than that, I had half Puerto Rican babies. You know, so like oh goodness, the embarrassment I am. Because my family's all about show. It's what you can see. It's not about who you are. It's not about how good you are together. They don't care about any of that. They care about the optics. You know, everything has to look a certain way. And I don't fit in their financial demographic. They're all rich as Roosevelt. I'm not. I'm poor as could be. Yeah. What's that line from Annie? I'm poor as a mouse. I'm richer than Midas. I'm poor as a mouse. They're richer than Midas. Like, they're ridiculous. It's disgusting. And not me. I'm just me. You know, I do the best I can. I live, you know, month to month, and I do what I can for my kids. These grocery prices are killing me because paying double for half the groceries while you have a 17-year-old, that's not fun. I've never seen a person eat as frequently as he. It's like he's a grazing freaking goat. That's all he does. A little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. And it's always something different. I'm like, can't you just eat one thing throughout the whole damn day? I mean, really? Meanwhile, I get stuck with, you know, soup and sandwiches. It's like, all right, whatever. Occasionally, like, I'll be able to buy steak and I'll make like steak for me because he doesn't like the kind of steak that I eat. So I'll get him like a London broil or something. And him and Katie will split it with like roasted potatoes or whatever. But for the most part, he's my beef stew eater. And Katie's happy as long as there's bread with it. Spicy. Hello, honey. How are you? I don't know if you guys check out The Expert on the regular, but he put out a video late last night. When I laid down to go to bed, I was listening to it. And it made me really, really sad. He lost a friend. He lost his very first member on YouTube, a very good friend of his who was actually his friend. And it was a woman that he admired very much. And, you know, I'm used to The Expert being all like jovial and whatever. I've heard him be upset. I've heard him be irritated. You know, I've heard him amused. I've heard him embarrassed. I never heard him so hurt. And I mean, you know me, I'm a sap. Of course, I cried. I cried the whole damn stream. And, you know, this morning I woke up with a headache and I was like, thanks a lot, Expert. But, you know, because got to blame him. I mean, it's The Expert. But I felt really bad. So I mean, if you run into him, just be kind. You know, he's going through a lot. It's obvious he's going through a lot, and it seems like the hits keep coming. So um just be nice. Okay, guys? Like, be extra nice. You know, because I think he needs that. And I'm sure, you know, by proxy, so does the white rabbit. You know, life is hard. 3D life is hard. The shit we go through on here is nothing compared to what we go through in real life. Spicy said, yeah, it was a beautiful tribute to Cece. Yep. She truly was one of a kind. Ida said, yeah, I couldn't watch. I sent him a DM, but hearing his heartbreak, I couldn't. It hurt my heart. Miami Spicy said they both need big, big hugs. Oh, thanks for the links, Edith. You know, I say your name 80 different ways throughout the entire stream. So it's like Edith, Edith, Aris, Aris, hey, Riri. Yeah, no, so that really, it was very touching. It was, you know, I was sad for him, and I was kind of grateful for him, like in his stead. Not grateful for him. I mean, yeah, I'm grateful for the expert. I mean, he's a good guy, but I was grateful on his behalf, I guess, because I don't think I don't know. He put out so much gratefulness and appreciation for this woman, and he had such wonderful things to say about her. And I just kind of wanted to double that out for him, because it sounded like somebody who really maybe even like changed his life, but somebody who definitely affected him and who he was seriously hurting over. And he just sounds so blessed to have known her. And I appreciated that. I appreciated that he even knew that, because it takes time to learn to appreciate people. You know, not everybody sees what's in front of them. You know, and he knew, and he treated her accordingly. But again, life is hard. It gets busy. You get separated from people. You know, time goes by, and then you're like, oh crap. Yes, it's regal. She said, I had no idea who she was, never met her, but to hear his heartache for her, I knew I missed out. Same. That was same feeling that I had. I was like, I never knew this person, but wow. Like, I wish I had. You know, I wish I had been privy to who she was. But he did. He put his heart out there last night, and I give him credit for that, because that is not an easy thing to do. And he sounds so lost, you know. And I just, you know, that mom in me just wants to scoop him up and be like, it's going to be okay. So, of course, that, you know, that's, of course, why I cried as hard as I did. But, yeah, so just, you know, if you can, send him a nice little, you know, nice note, or put a nice, sweet comment on that video. And just be kind. Okay? Because there's way too many people around here being unkind. People who don't know how to let shit go. They focus on these petty bullshits, and it's like, you know what? Like, just move on. Life is short. I ain't got time for this bullshit. So, expert just kind of reinforced that last night, that I'm not going to take the time to entertain other people's agendas. Like, I got my own work to do. I have people I love, people who love me back. I have healing to do, inside and out. And you can insult me all you want. Doesn't matter. It's a reflection of you, not me. I feel bad for you. I do. I feel bad for somebody who feels the need to lash out when I'm not doing anything to you. It's sad, and it's sick. You know, it's an obsession, and it's ridiculous. However, I am working toward the positive side of life. Because thinking about like the holidays coming up, I do not want to go into that already depressed. Like I'm not on any anti-depression meds anymore. I take an anti-anxiety. That's it. The anti-anxiety and the anti-tremor. For the lovely little brain spasms I have. But I mean that's basically the only ones that I take. I don't take anything else. Like for psychological stuff, I got rid of all of it. And it's been months. And I'm way more controlled now than I was before. I'm much more in charge of what I say and what I do. And I'm more, I don't want to say cognizant of like what's going on around me, but I did miss a lot of shit before. It's weird. When you're walking through life numb and high and whatever, you miss shit. And it's like, from somebody's like, oh, this happened. When did that happen? Such and such. You were there. I was not. I was not. Oh, I was. And I have to like think about it. I never used to have to do that. It is always kind until you come for a friend. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Don't come for me and mine. I mean, me, I can take the hits. I don't really care. Don't come for mine. You don't want to bring out that side of me. Miami Spice, he can be a goofball, but when he turns on the eloquence from the heart, it's beautiful. His message really made me stop and think what's really important. Exactly. I mean, just the emotion. His voice was so heavy with emotion. And like I could hear him getting choked up. And like every time he got choked up, I'd get choked up. It's just like, okay, you need to stop. Because it was so much. And yet I couldn't stop listening. Because I was like, he's going through this, and again, like with that damn movie, like I don't have any right to turn away when I know damn well he's heard many of my streams and I know he's heard much of my pain come through. And he never, he never said, oh, it's too much, forget it, and just walked away. Like he always sent little notes saying, keep your head up, you're doing good, we're here for you if you need to talk. And, him and White Rabbit have been very big supporters. Once I was able to let go of the information people put in my head and I just wiped everybody's slate clean, I made a lot more friends than I had before because I didn't go into it with somebody else's description or impression of them in my head. I went in as they were just blanks and they were awesome. Him and the White Rabbit used to make me cry all the time because she's just so goddamn grateful for things. And it's just like, it's humbling. It's very humbling when she gives a compliment because you're just like, I don't deserve that. It's very like, stop. Like you want to duck your head. I just said, yeah, I've been taking hits since the summer, but to not come for a friend or one of my kids, I will fuck your stuff up. Yep. It is. Oh my God, I did the same thing, Shelly. TWR is a beautiful soul. I adore her so much. So do I. And it's sad because there were people who tried to get me to where they were like, no, don't be friends. So it was like, okay, I got to wipe that slate clean. And once I like looked at her just through my own eyes, I said she was an amazing person. Very sweet, very outgoing. And she's funny as shit. Like she's whip it freaking smart. Like she's good with the comebacks, but the dysentery thing makes me laugh every time. Every time. Because I could picture her screaming something, but you should get dysentery. I am wishing dysentery on you. I could see it. And I desperately want her to get that cat. I feel like she needs a cat. I think Expert needs a cat. He needs a therapy cat. Something that he could, just like MG Lloyd, will just sit in the background, chasing shadows. Oh, just so you know, cats do chase the spirits away. If you tell them to, they will. They will chase all the spirits away. So you might want, I'm just saying, if somebody talks to the expert, he's got a problem with shadow spirits, might want to get a cat to get rid of them. Just saying. So it's a check in the pro column. It's a check in the pro column. And I'm always pro cat. Anyway, so having said that, my heart goes out to him, and I want him to know that we're all here. He knows who we all are. And there's not just a little bit of love on YouTube. There's a lot. And even when we go away, we're still there. It's just sometimes we need to separate ourselves. I don't go in his chat as much because I don't want to bring him drama. I don't go like many places because I don't want to bring drama. So it's like, all right, whatever. And I just stay in my own little lane and I do my thing and I have you guys and I love it. That's all I need. That's all I need. I just need you guys, and I just need to be able to get into the topics that I enjoy getting into all the psychological stuff and, how to help people and how, messed up things were for me sometimes, how good things were for me sometimes, what I'm thinking, what I want, my goals, your goals. I love hearing your stories. Like Lady Awesome with the, to the fence. You're going to take it to the fence? Yeah. Because it's just always good. Anytime somebody says fence, that's immediately what happens in my head. I swear I keep seeing his shadow in the background. Not his shadow, but his shadow friend. Oh, yeah, all the time now. It's all the time. Yeah, the cat would definitely help with the whole ghost thing. Yeah. But yeah, no, I've seen the shadow more than a handful of times now. And it's just like and it's always when he's not moving, there's nobody in the room. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, here I am, just floating in the background. Great. Like, that's just great. That's the one thing Winnie and I disagree on, because he's just like, that's not real. I'm like, no, it is. I'm like, stop. And he's like, no, you say. I'm like, whatever. I just went, okay, all right, yeah, okay. It's not real. It's not real. Winnie, go over there, and it's not real for you. It's real for me. Like, I think it's real, but I'm not going to argue the point. I mean, there's no proving it or disproving it unless I'm there with like a friggin' ectoplasm counter or whatever. Shells, people know you. If somebody tries to bring the drama, they won't get far. Seriously, stop worrying. You do you. I had the same fears. Yeah, well, I don't like it. I'd rather have no views and no drama, because peace is, so wonderful. So wonderful. Miami Spice. Have a great Monday, everybody. Time to rattle some cages. Much love. Thanks for stopping in, hon. And if you see Expert before I do, give him a hug. I don't know when you're going to Dollywood. I saw that Dolly was at the Tennessee game. That was exciting. She was even dressed in orange. Girl knows her audience. But that was exciting when he put that short up. I love me some Dolly. Are you going to that Dollywood thing with all of them? You have to let me know. I hope you're all going. I'd love to see a group picture, because y'all are just crazy. I think that would be great. You should all have the Dolly wig. All right. So this stream was supposed to be about family. Family's everything. And family is everything. Family makes you who you are. For better or for worse, for, richer or poorer, just like a marriage, they make you into the person you are. Either by, positive demonstration or negative demonstration. Sometimes they make us into who we are because we rebel so hard against who they are. Like, you can only accept certain things up to a certain point, I feel. Miami Spice. Oh yeah, rattle cages. I don't know why I keep reading that one over and over and over and over. I'm like stuck on it. But when it comes to family, they can do you a lot of good and they can do you a lot of harm. And then you'll see parts of yourself, like parts of them coming out in you. Ooh, that's those days are always a little jarring for me. Like when I hear like my grandmother's words coming out of my mouth, and I'm like, "Oh, bitch, no!" Like, no, we're not going to use that saying. No, 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 no. We're not going down that road. Like, how can we parent better, please? Like, because I can't do that. And I don't realize sometimes, until later when I'm in the middle of saying something that I grew up knowing as like given fact, how stupid I was as a kid. Because I just believed them. Like, just blatantly, like, oh, yeah, okay, that's a fact. And that's fact. Everything was fact. Like, it was just written in stone, and that was it. They could never be wrong because that's my family. And fuck you for saying any different. I grew up with that. What goes on in my house stays in my house. My grandfather didn't believe in anything getting out ever. You didn't tell anybody about your issues. You didn't tell them about family problems, personal problems, finances. You don't even tell them if you have a toothache. Like, if they're good friends, they'll know. But, if they're not already in the know, then they don't need to know. And I mean, that's the way it was with my family. News would spread through my family like wildfire. I told you, I tried to have a cigarette for the first time on the corner by my high school. And my Aunt Marie saw me throw something into the street. I hadn't even put it up to my mouth or anything yet. And I just automatically threw it. And she was a block away. Didn't say anything about it. And the minute I got home, my grandmother knew about it. I think it was like a 6-minute walk. I'm like, how the hell did she get in touch with my grandmother before I got home? We didn't have cell phones. That meant she either had to walk to a payphone and pay to call and snitch on me, or she had to run home and call from there. And I think she ran home and called from there. But it was still like, she had to run 5 blocks to get to where 5 long, long, long blocks. I had to go about 7 short blocks. So I should have gotten home way before she ever got to my grandmother. But no, she must have got on her broom and flew. Bitch. But yeah, I got in trouble. And I didn't even smoke the goddamn cigarette. It was just like... But that's how my town was. It spread like wildfire. If one family member found out one thing, guarantee they all did. They all knew. My cousin Sharon. Now, this is my... Let's see if you'll follow the lineage. This is my maternal grandfather's brother's daughter's daughter. So it was my maternal grandfather, my pop-up, not pop-up cuckoo bird, just pop-up, Hank. But I just call him pop-up. So it was pop-up's brother's granddaughter. So it was my pop-up's grandniece or great-grandniece. I don't forget how that works. She had gone to California. Now, this is the 80s. I was very young. My father was still alive. I think it was like the last year that he was alive. So I was probably about 12. But I still, like I said, I knew nothing. And we go to a wedding because we're guineas and that's what we do. And we go to the wedding and everybody's dancing all of a sudden my cousin Sharon walks in with her flaming red hair, because we have a lot of flaming redheads in my family. A lot. Because my great grandfather was a flaming freaking redhead. Not Irish at all. He just had flaming red hair. And so after that, everybody, there was at least one kid that would have red hair. I didn't get the red hair. I got the copper. I got like the copper streaks. I just got highlights and I got the skin. But like that was the Nabaladon portion of the family. But yeah, she walks in, big red hair and a baby. And I was like, huh. Now, I used to be very close with all my cousins. And I looked at my mother and I said, when did Sharon have a baby? Like, we were at her sister Donna's wedding. So it was like, wait a minute. Wait, she's not married? And she's like, my mother's like, no. I was like, oh, you said good thing her father's dead. Because he would have killed her. Her father, it was, he was this big, gigantic guy named Stan. And amazing man. I loved Stan. He was a hoot. Liked to drink too much, which is what, ended his life early. But he was so much fun. Oh my God, he was so much fun. He was just the sweetest dude. But you didn't fuck with him as the head of the household. Like if he said it, that was it. And I remember they got into a fight because she said that she didn't need no husband to have a baby. And he lost his mind. For the love of God, he lost his mind. It was so funny because he screamed. We were all there and he didn't give one fuck. We were family. We just close the door. Just like close the door. But I mean, when she walked in with this baby. And then I see the baby and I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, what's the big deal? Yeah. And they were like, she didn't get married. And she's not Catholic anymore. I was like, oh, well, what is she? Like, what the hell? How do you not be Catholic? Because I couldn't get it. Like, my mind never went to, oh, you can change religions. Like, if you're Catholic, you're Catholic. That's it. It's like, if you're Italian, you're Italian. You born that way, you die that way. I was born Catholic, apparently. And I will die Catholic. There's a bunch of other stuff in there, but Catholicism is part of who I am. It's, it was in my upbringing. I'm always going to have that Catholic guilt, which I hate. But yeah, I was like, how do you stop? Like, I was so confused. How do you stop being Catholic? It was a mystery to me. And they were like, oh, well, she went to California and she got in with the hippie dippies. And because, of course, that's what she called them. And they were like, she was all about, the free love and drugs. And then she met some guy who straightened her out. But he's part of a religion that we don't believe in. And I was like, okay, well, like, what is she? And she's a Jehovah's Witness. I was like, isn't Michael Jackson a Jehovah's Witness? That means the kid can't get any birthday presents or anything. That sucks. That was where my mind was. That was all I knew about them. The fact that they don't celebrate things, they don't give gifts, they don't whatever. I was like, dude, I would never pick that religion. At least the Jewish religion made sense to me because, when you celebrate things, you have like nights of celebration. It's never just one little thing. They always did everything big. I'd been to many like mitzvahs and like all the different, like my grandfather had a lot of like Jewish friends. He had a lot of German friends. He had friends of all walks of life. But when Jewish people throw a party, they throw a party. Like, and it was always wild every time we went to one. And I understood it though, because it was like everything was, such a celebration of life. Catholicism, you don't really celebrate life. You celebrate the fact that you made it through the day. It's very like, fire and brimstone and just, oh, how dare you? Jesus died for you and this is what you're doing with your life. Like, it's all guilt. So Jehovah's Witness was like, it was weird to me because it was like, why would you go somewhere for a religion where you deprive yourself of everything? Like, it's not like you're single. It's not like you're grown. It's not like, becoming some kind of like Buddhist monk or whatever. You want a family. So like, why would you deviate so much away from how you were raised? It wasn't until I was later, like in my 40s, where I was like, oh, I get it. Because she was just so desperate to break that cycle, to be away from that. Because as loving as, the family is, and that part can be very overpoweringly loving, unfortunately, in that way that you're just like, that it hurts your ears. It's just too much, too over the top. So you're never quite sure how authentic it is. They always left me feeling very like empty. Like, it was so effusive. It was just too much. And here she was, going with Jehovah's Witnesses and changing her religion, having a child out of wedlock, and marching into that wedding like she owned it. She came into that reception hall, clickety, 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 click. And I was just like, oh, crap. Because she was one redhead I did not mess with. I did not. She had opinions and she didn't give a fuck if you agree with them or not. She was going to tell you about yourself, tell you about what was going on. I always kind of admired that. Like her sister Donna was great. She was a nurse and everything, but Donna was always very quiet. She was very, I'm just going to get along. And my cousin Kenneth just lived to tease me. That's just who he was. He was like 2-3 years older than me, I think. And he just loved to just be merciless because he grew up with 2 sisters. So he was really, really good at it. He was so good at breaking balls. Oh my God. So good at it. And then he became a teacher. So he got even better. But yeah, like that part of my family, I don't really talk to them anymore. But I remember that day when she worked in, I was just like, oh my God. Like, I was like, wait a minute, but how come she gets away with it? Because we couldn't get away with shit. I couldn't even pick out my own clothes for a wedding. Like I had to dress however my mother or grandmother wanted me to dress. And if you know anything about Italians in the 80s, Lord, they dressed us like little Puritans. It was but like 40, 50-year-old Puritans. We used to call it the Mamadel dresses. They'd be like these sack dresses that they'd make us wear. And it's just to look as frumpy as, I could, so that just sit there and just, be quiet. And so they didn't have to really go all out or whatever. My other cousins would come in their little frilly dresses and whatever. And it was just like, all right. It's like you can tell that they're not, raised the same way that I was. They were all raised like down the shore. They made sure to get away from like the great grandparents. Oof. And the parents. Like, they made sure to escape. My cousin Marion, she took off to the shore, and my cousin Betty took off to the north. And the only one that stayed was my cousin Diane, who lived with her parents until they died and left her everything. But she's crazy. So there you go. Allegedly. She's allegedly crazy, because if the bitch hears me at some point and comes after me, I don't know if I can take her. She's aggressive. I don't know. She's a psycho. But anyway. Yes, I mean, I have a big family. I just don't like them. I mean, I love them, but I don't like them. I'm not comfortable with them. I'll put it that way. It's not that I don't like them. They're very good people. I'm just not comfortable with them. And I mean, I know it's because of, like my uncle and stuff like that. My uncle was always very close with them. My mother was very close with them. But they were just as permissive when the tide would turn on me. And my uncle would start with me because they were just grateful that it didn't turn on them. That was how it worked in my house. Once they picked their target, everybody else just kind of sat back and go, oh, thank God it's not me. And the target was almost always me, because I was just the easiest one. I had nobody there to defend me. My mother wasn't going to say shit. Daddy was there a couple years. He wasn't, he didn't live long enough to be there to defend me all the time. But when he was, he defended me. But my family is nothing if not determined. So they always managed to get their digs in one way or another. But like, I was thinking of like the different things that like I say sometimes, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, can I just please stop sounding like my grandmother? Just like she used to say, like she had her different humps, Sometimes it was, sometimes it was like a kind of grunt when she was really aggravated. Like if you were right and she was wrong, and you just had this huge fight, and she just realized that she's wrong, that was a grunt. It was so like, you're right, but I don't have to like it. And basically get out of my face. I don't like you much right now. But yeah, that was her last thing to me. That when she pushed my hand away when she was in the hospital, because she just wanted to push me away. She wanted to make sure that I had distance enough that when she died, it wouldn't break me, and it damn near did. You know, I love that woman, but she would say things. Oh, for the love of God, um, the typical curses. You know, I hope you have children just like you. Yeah, that was always one. I was, but I'm not bad. Don't worry, you're gonna have kids worse than you. Why would you do that? Why would you put that on me? What? My mother put it on your mother. No, I put it on your mother, and my mother put it on me. She said, and it definitely worked on me. She said, my mother, she said she had 5 kids. We were angels. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure you were angels. My Uncle Pat owned taverns his whole life. He was a saloon owner. I don't care what. Oh, they have it. It's a tavern. It's a Holiday Inn. It's a whatever. No, it's a bar. All right. It's a free. He owned bars. Let's not sugarcoat it. It's a freaking bar. And they'd make a big deal out of it. No, he's, it's entertainment, and it's, it's, what do they call it? It's for catering services, it's for parties. They rent it out for parties. Yeah, they rent it out for parties like what, a couple times a month. But that doesn't make it like, a restaurant. It's there's no tables to go eat. There's buffet. Uncle Pat made the sausage and peppers and everything else downstairs. But they were bars. My 3 aunts, they all worked in Manhattan. They were all single. They all still lived at home. And they all, basically died alone. They died with no husbands, no relationships that, no good ones anyway, in their past, nothing worthwhile, no kids. It was just them. And it was terrible. It was terrible that they lived so long and they lived so much of their lives alone. It seemed tragic to me, but people would whisper and they'd be like, those are 3 spinster sisters. And it used to gall my mama none, my great grandmother. Oh, she would fight you. I tell you, she didn't talk to her sister her entire life. Once those words left her sister's mouth, I'd rather my girls be like my girls instead of old maids like yours. That was it. She destroyed any chance of having a relationship with her sister, because my great grandmother could hold a grudge to the grave and the great beyond. Lord, she was the one who taught me about, writing favors on the ice and just watch them as they melt away, because that's about as, permanent as they are. That's how much of a guarantee you have in getting whatever you do back. She taught me, if you're going to be kind and you're going to be generous, do it with the expectation that the person is going to screw you over. She was the first one that said, no, other people don't have the heart you do. You can't assume that they do. But she said it in Italian. And she said, they don't have your spirit. They don't have that gift. Some people just, they take and they take and they suck everything out of you. And they don't know how to stop. So you have to be the one to stop them. You have to be strong enough. You have to be tough enough. She was the first person that introduced, you got to be tough. You got to be tough, Michelle. You got to be tough. And I feel like maybe she could have picked a different word, because I took that shit and ran with it. But, she was always very honest, very common sense with me, which other people were not. Other people like to sugarcoat shit and go around topics. She just come dead on. She always said, somebody gives you a problem, you tell me. I mean, I had no doubt that if I had ever told her like what my father was doing, he wouldn't have been breathing about 20 minutes later. Like, she would have never let that shit slide. But she was a tough old broad. I remember she was in the street. She was sweeping the sidewalk into the street, like all the dirt and everything, leaves and whatever. and she stepped off the curb to sweep it further into the road so that the sweet sweeper could take it. And she broke her hip. Just stepping down into, like, it was literally like the curb outside her house is maybe 3 inches high, if that. And she just did that one step down and she broke her hip. And this was in like 1980, I want to say 3, around the 1981, 81, 82, 83, around there. It was between like first and third grade. And it was a big operation. And she was not a good patient. She just wasn't. She was so stubborn. Oh my goodness. But she was in a lot of pain all the time. She didn't take painkillers. She didn't believe in them. And they would make her, like, my aunts would make her do all these different exercises. You know, they had the pulley on the back of the door, and, you know, they had like different like elastic kind of things, like ropes and like elastic ropes that they would be able to put around like her ankles so that she could like flex her like leg out a little bit. And they, you know, they do all these little, you know, toe touch and flex and, you know, point, and then can you go out to the side? And she hated it. Oh, how she hated the exercises. She would smack the shit out of my Aunt Grace, because my Aunt Grace was the only one brave enough to make her do them. And you'd hear my Aunt Grace, Mama, you gotta stop hitting me. You're gonna do this. Damn it, Mama. Like, it was just so funny, because they used to battle one another. And every time my grandmother, my great grandmother, would turn to me and say, you see what she puts me through? She hates me. She hates me. All my children hate me. But you love me, Michelle, right? You love me. I love you, Grandma. I love you, Mama Nanda. I love you. But it was funny when I had to switch from Italian to English because she didn't like it. And I thought it was going to be harder than it was. But apparently she spoke fantastic English. She just didn't want to. Yeah, it was her house. Why should she speak another language? Plus, it threw the neighbors off because they couldn't understand her. She was in a hoity-toity neighborhood. There weren't a lot of guineas at first. Toward my 20s, a lot more Italians moved into that neighborhood. And so I knew a lot of the families that were in that neighborhood. But before that, it was mostly like German and Jewish and a little bit Polish. But they were all like, you know, huge professionals. And here you have my great grandfather, the coal, you know, carrier, the iceman, because he used to carry the blocks of ice up, you know, the 4 stories, because there were cold water flats and the walk up only. That is truth. If you go in expecting people will treat you the way you treat them, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, especially if you have a giant heart. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. But that doesn't mean that you can't tell people when they're treating you shitty to be like, you know what? I don't deserve this. The way you're acting right now, I don't deserve this. I don't do this to you. I think you need to like rethink it. And you leave it up to them. If they continue to treat you shitty, you know, make note of it. And if they change and, you know, they're a little softer with you maybe sometimes, or a little more appreciative, or just a little kinder. And I'm not directing this at anybody. I'm just saying you get a lot more grace from people when you fuck up. If you're graceful to them, if you give them a little bit of leeway when they do it. You know, if you treat somebody, like if they're always good to you and then you treat them just as well or whatever, but in your own way, that's great. But once you start letting that slide and thinking it's acceptable to not put the effort in, then it becomes a problem, because it can become a habit. And as we all know, habits are very hard to break. So, you know, just don't allow that kind of negativity to start. That's my advice for that. And this channel does not give any kind of professional advice. It is for entertainment purposes only and purely my opinion. It's all my opinion. It's just the mother and me. Getting back to my grandmother though, like, she really did. She said a lot of things that I would never say to my kids, like she said, "Oh, you'll miss me when I'm dead." Nothing like just laying that at my feet, Graham. Like she'd be like, and if she was aggravated with me, all right, it's all right, it's all right, Michelle. I'll die for you. You want me to die for you? I'll die right here, right now for you. And for years, I would cry, no, I don't want that. And then once I hit like my 20s, I was like, this bitch. She said it to me one day. My daughter was doing something and she was like, nothing makes you happy. I hadn't complained. I hadn't even opened my mouth. I just walked in from work and she started, and I was just like, Jesus Christ. And I'm like cleaning up what my daughter was playing with. And she goes, that's it, Michelle. I'll die for you. Would that make you happy? I'll die for you. And I said, I don't know. Am I in the will? And I was like, because if I'm not in the will, there's not really a whole lot of point. You're a good babysitter. She was so mad. How dare you? I said, I'm sick of hearing you saying that goddamn line. I was like, do not throw that shit in my face anymore. And she like got up and I was like, if you want to go, woman, we'll go. Like, I'm tired. I'm not dealing with this shit right now. She was just like taken aback. She was like, how dare you talk to me like that? But she didn't say shit. And I think that's one of the last times she said that line. It didn't have any power anymore. You know, she couldn't do anything with it. But before, it was real good for getting me to like toe the line. Oof. I jump right in. Having her around for the holidays, it brought everybody together because everybody came to her house because she was a phenomenal cook. I mean, phenomenal. And she was a fantastic baker and just like anything that she chose to make was just amazing. And it used to drive me insane because the woman kept all her recipes in her head. So when she died and we were going through all her stuff, my uncle said, oh, where are her recipe books? I said, you mean the books full of recipes that she wrote down off the TV or she pulled out of magazines and never made? No, like the ones she made, like, you know, day to day. Yeah, those went with her. They're in her head. Are you serious? I was like, yeah, she didn't write those down. She wrote down some of the cookie ones because those are more exact. Sorry, guys. It's the heater. I had to turn the heat up because I was shaking. So now it's like choking me. But like her regular recipes, nah, that was all in her head. And he was all torn. He was like, she never showed, you know, my wife how to make whatever. Well, he didn't need to worry about that because very shortly after Grandma died, his wife left him. It's funny because his wife left him right after Grandma died, and Donnie's wife left him right after Grandma died. It's almost like they were waiting, like they didn't want to disappoint her. And I get that. But yeah, everything fell apart when she died. Everything. And he was devastated that, oh, I can't believe, you know, she never taught me this, she never taught me that. And then suddenly one day it dawned on him. He said, hey, did she teach you how to cook? Mm-hmm. So you know the recipes? Mm-hmm. Off the top of your head. Mm-hmm. I need you to write down all those recipes. I was like, son of a bitch. Like, if I was any other person, I could have just lied and gotten out of it. But no, I had to be like, yeah, I know how to make it. The one that drove him the craziest was the artichoke hearts because he just could not get them the way my grandmother made them. He's like, they just don't come out right. But I gave him the little tips on how she used to do those too. But I mean, I had no problem telling him all the different recipes and writing them down and whatever, because I knew he'd pass them on to his daughters. And I wanted my little cousins to know how to cook the way Grandma did, because they would come over sometimes, you know, when their father brought them up for the day from the shore, and they would just love it. They'd be like, can we stay for dinner? Can we stay for dinner? And if he said no, Grandma would make dinner early and give it to them for lunch so that they could have dinner because they wanted Grandma's whatever, you know. And yeah, they knew it was good. But I mean, she made amazing chicken soup. I make great chicken soup. It still doesn't taste like hers. Nothing I make tastes exactly like hers because my hands are different. She never measured when she cooked. not with any kind of instrument. Like she did it by sight or by, well, basically by sight. But she knew how long to pour milk for, that it meant it was this amount of milk. She could eyeball it and be like, yeah, and she could dead accurate all the time. But I also like to experiment with food a lot more than she does. Like I'll stand there and be like, I wonder what it tastes like with this spice in it. I wonder if I add this ingredient. So I bastardize all her recipes. Some of them I'm a little more, I'm a little more by the book. Jacob Pete's an Outpost nerd. Top of the day to you. How you doing? How you doing? We're talking about the pitfalls of family. And the pros. I mean, of course, there's pros because I know there are people out there who have very supportive families, very loving families. Mine was a cast of characters. All right, so let's go through like the main players that would show up at any holiday dinner. You have, and these are the guarantees. There were always extras, but these are the guaranteed ones that would show up. So you have my grandmother, who was the cook and the host. She kept everybody together. She was the matriarch of the family. Before her, it was her mother. And when her mother started to her health started failing, it switched over to my grandmother, but with the two great grandmothers still alive. So they would come over and they would sit in there on their little thrones and just spectate. And it was fine. It was great. But they had 10 to 15 years. She had 10 to 15 years where they handed the torch over and taught her, well, this is what we do when we're hosting. This is how we do it. And she would make it her own, but I mean, she learned from them. And the same way, like my mother doesn't have that. My mother didn't learn how to do any of that stuff. She didn't learn what went into it. She was always working. I learned because I was home. I was a kid, but I was still home. Like I was the only help she had. So it was like, all right, you're going to learn how to devein shrimp. You're going to learn how to clean out squid. It's like, ugh, all right. Do I have to? Yes, you have to. Like, all right, you're going to learn how to make the sausage with the casing and everything else. Hello, Winning Reality. Figures I talk about making sausage and he shows up. Take from that what you will. So we had my grandmother. She was the main cook. We had Grandpa pop up. He was always quiet, calm. Like he'd just sit there. But he was the type, like he'd listen to you and everybody's at the table and he's just chain smoking. He's just chain smoking right at the table. The kids are there. The adults are there. Everybody's eating. He don't give a fuck. He's got an ashtray full of friggin', cigarettes right in front of him. He gave no fuck. It's his house. He put his blood, sweat, and tears. If he wanted to smoke on your head in his house, he was gonna. He didn't give a fuck. But if my Aunt Lee or my mother went to light a cigarette, no, not at the table. Really? He'd be like, really, Dad? And my aunt would be like, Hank. And he'd be like, no, if you want, we'll go outside. You go outside and you start. If you finish before I get there, just come back. Like, he wasn't going to get up. It's like fucking cold out. I'm not going out there. Hey, boss. Sorry I missed you last night. Hit the hay early. I'm assuming when he says, hey, boss, he's talking to Winning because he would never say that to me. Yeah, no, it was a good stream. It was a really good stream. It was a very drama-filled night. And we're not talking about that. I already talked about that. You had my mother who would cry at least once. Because my aunts loved picking on her when it came to my father. It didn't matter that she was divorced from him. It didn't matter she was remarried. Didn't matter. They hated my father and they loved to point it out to her how behind she was because of him. How she wasn't in the will because of him. That was a thing. How everything goes to my uncle because she had to marry my father. It was like, great. Let's just put that shit out there for everybody to fucking know. My Uncle Tom, that's my mother's brother, who supplies all the quick and painful barbs himself before teaming up with my cousin Donnie, the one who punched me in the back of the head, to be the center of attention. while delivering very sharp comments all around to everybody. I mean, nobody escaped the two of them. It was, but everybody pretended they were funny. Everyone's like, ha, ha, ha. They weren't funny. They were just mean. All his jokes, all his barbs, all his little jibes, they were all just mean. And I've known myself to do that because I learned from the best. That's my first instinct, is to go for the jugular. You have no idea how much I hold myself back. Winning reality. Jacob, last night's episode, The Trap had the positive and negative freedom on it. Jacob noted. No drama on our stream. Elsewhere, folks still flapping their gums. Folks are always flapping their gums. This is YouTube. If they weren't flapping their gums, I wouldn't believe they were breathing. You'd have all my little cousins there, which was always fun. They were loud, oblivious, happy, loud. Did I mention they were loud? They were very loud. And then they would eat very little because they would complain about the food the whole time. Because they're half Irish, so they couldn't really appreciate my grandmother's cooking, apparently. But yeah, they'd bitch and moan about everything. One of them would be constipated all the time. The other one screamed if you so much as said the word Santa Claus. And then there was my littlest cousin who was just adorable. You just wanted to pinch him all the time. He was actually the first really small baby that Daddy ever held. Daddy was terrified of holding babies because he was a big dude and he was afraid he was going to break them. But my littlest cousin at the time, he was just fat baby. He was built solid and he was always happy and he never cried. And somebody gave him to my father to hold. And I remember I took a picture of it. I hope I can find that picture. And he was so nervous, but he was so happy. He was so happy because he'd never held a baby before. He wasn't comfortable doing it. And I don't think he was allowed. His family was very like, Raymond, you can't do anything right. Which is why, why I think he always related to me so much. Winning reality. Yeah, I'm not going to read that, but thank you for explaining to Jacob. Oh, narcissism is alive and well and living on other streams. Yeah, so that's my cousins and everything. They didn't like eating the food. They didn't like hanging out with the adults, which to me was weird. I was never allowed to just go play. It was always sit there and be quiet. It didn't matter how old I was. Just sit still, be quiet, shut your mouth, keep your ears open. That's it. And they would get up and they'd go running around my grandmother's parlor and everything. And nobody would bother them until something broke. And something always broke. And my grandmother, eventually she learned these children have no control. So she would take all her collectibles and all her ceramics, like her Pyrex and, all like the really good, not Pyrex. What was it Pyrex porcelain? I don't know, but they were very expensive. They were like, they were painted in gold, like 24 karat gold, whatever. Because that's what my uncle used to do. He used to paint things in gold for her and give them to her as gifts. And she would hide them. So for years, it was always a mad scramble to make a box full of all her, breakables. And I'd have to bring them all the freaking way upstairs. These kids were so destructive. And then they'd come out, they didn't want to eat. They'd gorge on dessert. So they were chocoholics. So they would just shove endless amounts of chocolate into their mouths at dessert time. And then they'd go in the parlor and go to sleep. And and then everybody had to be quiet because they were asleep. I'm like, dude, I can't do that. Could you imagine if I like sat there and gorged myself on chocolate, then went in the parlor, went to sleep? My uncle would have had a field day with that, as would Donnie, who was their parent. That was their father. And my uncle behind my cousin's back was, oh, he's got no control over his kids. It's ridiculous. But of course, when my uncle had children, he had no control over his either. They would run around. He'd say, oh, girls will be girls. Girls will be girls. Like, really? Like, I got my ass handed to me if I even like looked crooked. They're over here breaking shit, knocking lamps over, stepping on presents. It's like, and like I said, I love my cousins, but the sense of entitlement was real. Like, they really could get away with murder. And they still can. They still can. And then you had my aunts. I told you about the 3 spinster sisters. So they were very critical. Had very high expectations. My aunts were very much, oh, Michelle, you're here. Dance, monkey. Because it was just, I had to perform all the fucking time. Always had to perform. I had to recite poems. I had to answer, freaking history questions. They would come up with, like whoever the fuck. They say, okay, Michelle, who said don't shoot till you see the whites of their eyes? Like, they had this whole Revolutionary War quote thing that they used to play with me. And I say play because I'm trying to be nice about it, but they would just like, they would drill this into my head over and over and over. And I was like, Jesus, leave me the fuck alone. Can't I just like enjoy people? I couldn't joke around. I just had to sit there and just answer their questions. You got to perform at your best. Got to perform at your best. So family can be toxic as fuck. I mean, I used to try to like, I tried to cope with it in my own ways, but it's tough, but it did teach me a lot. So I was thinking about it, and I said, it taught me how to be seen, but not heard. And if you can avoid being seen, that's even better. They taught me that a moving target is hard to hit. So, take a walk, flee to where they're not at. A really good place to go to avoid getting, like targeted by the adult assholes in the family is wherever there are little children. Because little children are very noisy, and the adults are usually like, yeah, I'm not going over there. Like, I'm not going where those kids are. Go ahead, go immerse yourself in the play. Make sure it's nice and loud, and there's video games and lots of screeching, and yeah, you'll be safe. Let's create your haven if you can't find one. The other thing, there's a couple things. One, just apologize and take the blame. That's what they taught me. They told me, just apologize, take the blame. The sooner you do, the less angry they're going to be. At least for, a couple minutes, they'll leave you alone. But if you prolong it, it just escalates. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just ridiculous. I'm behind. Well, let me finish this page and then I'll do chat. This was when I wrote down to be funny, but it's true. Smile but show no teeth. Look up but make no eye contact. This will be seen as aggression, and they will come for you. I cannot tell you how many fights started in, what are you looking at? Like, it was just like, Jesus. Like, I opened my eyes and there you were. And what they really taught me was I was determined to be different. I was determined to make a plan for myself and set boundaries for myself so that I would never be like them. I would never have anybody come to my house and be treated with such disrespect and to be humiliated. So like where they're different, where we're different, is all over the board. Like, I tried putting this down because it's hard dealing with people who are so different from you. I envy, and I mean envy in a good way. I envy those people who get along with their families, who have families who are not malicious. I don't know what it is in my family, but they're all very sadistic. Like, they enjoy inflicting pain on people. And I can be like that if I allow myself to be. I could very easily go down that road and be the biggest, meanest bitch out there without remorse. But that's crazy. Like, like, why would you want to be like that? Just because I can be something doesn't mean I choose to be that. It doesn't mean it's my default. It's just I know I have the capability of going there. And I choose not to. Sometimes I choose to embrace it. Depends on, tell me who you hang out with. I'll tell you who you act like. But for the most part, I don't. You got to really, really piss me off. Like, to like the point where I just don't care. I just want to burn you to the ground. And that takes a lot. But it takes pushing me there to get a reaction, like a bad reaction like that out of me, like my family would give. Like I said, they go right for the jugular. There's a couple of them will do like the little hits and then go for the big one. But the majority of my family just want to disable you and leave you there bleeding while they enjoy, the feast. They don't care about whether you're in pain. They don't care if you're alive or dead. They're happy they made their attack, hit the mark. Goody, it's dinner time. Like, that's just how they are. So here's some of the differences that make it impossible for me to be around my family. And for the longest time, I blamed myself. I was like, no, you should be more forgiving. You should be more tolerant. But I was tolerating abuse. So that after a while made no sense to me. It was like, why am I going to talk to these people? They don't care about me. I really don't care about them. And that they did that because I used to. Yeah, they're abusive. They're mean as snakes. They're vicious. They're underhanded. I can't trust even one of them. I don't like being around them. And it's nothing but torture to be in their presence. So why would I do this? There's no benefit whatsoever. And that little voice in my head goes, because they're family. Fuck that. You don't get licensed to fucking walk all over me and shit all over me just because we share a bloodline. That's some bullshit. And I'm not going to don't put me on your speed dial, because the same way you haven't been there for me my entire life, that's exactly what you're getting in return. I am out of fucks to give. The people I take care of are my family, the one I made, my kids. Still take care of my mother. Like holiday wise, I'm still, I still invite her over. She never comes. Nope. Yeah, it's just me and my husband. Okay. Like, you sure you don't want to come by? I'll cook. No. But you can make plates. I'll pick up plates during the week. Like, no, bitch. If you're not going to stay and like hang out with me, I'm not making you food. What the hell? But she doesn't like to socialize anymore. So it's just like, all right. So I never get to spend holidays with my mother. Never. Because she doesn't want to. She only wants to do what she wants to do with her husband. That is the be all and end all of her world. And I get that. That's who she is. I'm not like that. So if you look at my family, they don't hug. There's no I love yous. None. And I don't mean like they're rare. I mean, there's none. They don't believe in saying that shit. You don't show emotion. Stoicism is a very high expectation in my family. Like, you just need to be stone-faced. They're so cold. So cold. But to outsiders, everybody thinks they're generous and sweet and jovial, and they smile all the time, and they'll salt of the earth people. They'll do anything for you. It's behind closed doors. They're like, no, I'm not doing shit for you. Oh, I can make your life much, much easier, but I'm not gonna. Why not? Because I don't want to. Oh, okay. Because they're miserable, so they want you to be miserable. I'm not like that. I'm really not. I'm all hugs all day. Like I told somebody the other day, I said, I am very much like a spider monkey. I will attach myself to your back and never leave. I'll just hug you all damn day. Because they're just not like that. They don't praise. They don't. There's nothing positive about them. I'm positive that they're horrible people. I mean, maybe they were good at one point, and maybe they're good to strangers. But as far as family, nah, man, they missed the boat there. And I can't even say it's just me because they treat my mother just as bad. And they're, now as they get older, they're just as shitty to my uncle. So it's like, karma's a bitch. Eventually she catches up with everybody. My family is overly critical. Now, I can crack on you with the best of them. I can make fun of you, I can tease you, I can mock you, whatever. That is not what they do. There's no humor to it. There's no joviality to it. None of that. It's just, oh, look, I see flaws. Let me make them cry over it. Because they attack like a bunch of just fucking rattlesnakes. Or whatever attacks en masse, whatever. And they're very into public humiliation. That's the thing. They love gotcha moments. They love to set you up. And they will set you up over a course of like a couple hours. Like they'll plan that shit out. And they'll set the conversation up where they're just asking questions here, there. They're gathering the threads of information and picking and choosing what they're going to use. And then like at the end, when you're like, okay, they asked me all the questions. I'm done being uncomfortable. It's the end of the night. Got like 10 minutes to go before everybody leaves. And it's like, boom, they just come right at you. It's just, you'd never see it coming. They're so good at this, that last minute stealth move. Oh, so good at it. And they get me every time. I don't want to publicly humiliate. I tend to be the one who gives a lot of compliments. I'll compliment how somebody's dressed, how their life is, how their kids are, whatever. Because I think that just even a small compliment is enough to boost somebody up when they're just anxious and not happy about where they are. Because it's anxiety inducing going to see family. I always felt bad for the people that married into our family because it was such a culture shock for them. Because they were just like, how do you people talk to one another like this? Like, how can you stand? Like, obviously, you don't love each other. Of course we do. You loved it. Well, yeah, we're family. That never said, yeah, I love them. No, we're family. Blood's thicker than water, whatever. They constantly talked about money. Oh my God, money was everything to them. I had no part in that conversation. I was either too young or I was too broke. And believe me, they loved telling me how I lived off my grandmother. Mind you, I was a teenager, but they loved telling me how lucky I was to be able to mooch off my grandmother for years. Never mind the fact that I was a kid in the family. Somebody had to take care of me, and it wasn't going to be my mother. So, I just stayed with grandma. It was never a thing. Like Donnie lived in my great grandmother's house and his grandmother's house his whole life. My uncle lived in my grandmother's house his whole adult life when he wasn't married. When he moved out, where'd he move? Across the street into my great grandmother's apartment. Like, so they did all these things, but it was a pain in the ass when I did it. And I was just a kid. And that was just like every day. And I don't do that. My kids, I'm never going to tell my kids, you just got to go. I want them to go. I want them to get out and see the world, but they're not ready. Maybe they'll never be ready. Maybe I do have to kick them in the ass to get them out the door at some point. But there's never going to be a shaming thing. It's going to be get out, go, live your life. Not a, oh my God, I can't believe you need me to support you kind of thing. I never want to shame them like that. I never want to shame them in any way. I mean, I joke with them and everything, but to actually shame them, no. And they know it. My kids know how my sense of humor is. Other people don't get it, but these are people who've lived with me forever. So they know me a bit better than everybody else. And it's just one more word. They're just merciless. They're merciless. And it makes me very nervous around the holidays, even though I know I don't have to see them. My uncle makes the phone call, and I get nervous every time because some years he'll, hey Michelle, how you doing? Happy Thanksgiving. All right. Kids good. Kids good. Okay, bye. And he just hangs up on me. Doesn't wait for a response. I never have to say a word. And some years it's just mean. Like he'll just call up and be like, yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Did you do this yet? Did you get anywhere with this yet? Did you get anywhere with that yet? Oh, still a failure. Still working here. Still doing that. Oh, you're still not married again? You need to get married again because I'm not going to take care of you when you're old. And like, first of all, when I'm old, your ass will be dead. So I don't see you taking care of me. But I hope he don't like turn to me and think I'm going to take care of him when he's old. Because you have 2 daughters. Go look for them. Go bother them. Don't bother me. Anyway. But that's just a little bit of like, the typical holiday in my family. And it's very, you get very battle weary and you don't want to do it anymore. And you're just like, I don't need this crap. I don't want to do any of this crap. Oh shoot. I thought that was, I'm getting groceries delivered and sometimes they text me and they're like, we have substitutes, but that wasn't them. So it was somebody, FedEx, we have your package. Bullshit. So let's go back. So Edison, good morning. I love the show's time. Let's go back further. All right, still flapping their gums. A ton of gaslighting coming off the mic. Eris said, good M, Jacob Pete's hon. Anya said, good M. I love this morning's title. My grown kids came and pulled out all my carpets that my kids and dog ruined this weekend. Nice. I'm glad they came and did that for you. Did they clean up and everything? Because that's the bitch part of it. Are you just going to have hardwood floors now? Jacob said his or her loss, then that's what happens when you let the mask slip. Mm-hmm. Good day winning reality, hun. Sounds like I missed a good one last night. Sorry, been sick and lost track of time. Hugs, hun. No, Edis. Jacob B. Hayers, how you doing? And you said, then they spent the night last night and made me play a flip cup game. Oh my God, that's so fun. We had so much fun. Oh my goodness. How'd you do? I bet you did good. I bet you did real good. Edis said, hopefully almost all this crap at Jacob Pete's, at least then my fuzzy headedness will only be due to all the crazy in there. No, there you go. See? Always a silver lining. Winning rally errors. Yes, we had a good time on our stream. Hope you feel better soon. Is it your sinuses, hon? Because I know that's been acting up for a lot of people. Jacob said, I feel that at Eris. I'm not sick, but it's a Monday, so I'm with you. Yeah, you always feel it's a little bit worse on Mondays. And your murders. I caught some Saturday night before sleep, but couldn't chat. I was exhausted. That video game was funny, wasn't it? Oh my God, the Alex Jones video game. That was hilarious. Certain parts were better than others. I cannot get through this conversation without a cigarette. Sorry, guys. Yeah, and it's Monday on top of that. I said, thank you, Hannah, winning reality. And to boot, traffic sucks monkey balls. Nice. And you said, yeah, I don't have a good relationship with most of my extended family either. Their leader is pretty cruel and I won't bend to her anymore. Yeah, they always have a leader. They used to have a leader. And then, there were divorces all around and it was... They scattered like roaches when you turn on the lights in the projects. Like, it was terrible. Like, they just scattered to the four winds. And it was like, I was happy to see them go. But they do get back and they do get together once in a while. And I just don't want to be part of it. They were very upset that I didn't go to the funeral. My aunt's funeral. I said, why would I go? She's dead. You think she's going to care? I was there when she was alive. Where were you? They don't like when I talk because I'm not that kid that takes the hits anymore. I fight back and I will blast them on all their bullshit. Like, oh, you want me at the funeral for what? So you could like what, make fun of my kids or call me a terrible mother? You want to pick on me? Because I'll pick right back at you. Let's take a little look at how half those kids don't look nothing like you. Nothing like you. You're ugly, got a hot wife, and half your kids don't look like you. Did you see Game of Thrones? Let's just go there for a minute. But whatever. No, that's why they don't want me at funerals anymore, because that's the kind of shit I say. It's like, oh, you want to play? I could play. See, the things that I don't say on here to be cruel, that rule doesn't apply when I'm with my family. I'm nice until they draw first blood. Once you draw blood, especially if it's about my kids, nope. That's when my mother goes, oh, shit. Because she knows I'm just, nope. Okay. Roll up my sleeves and I go. It's just like, let me tell you something about you. Yeah. And that's when I get really really mean. And I think that's the only time my uncle's really proud of me. Because he'll look at me like, what's that? She's got balls after all. Yeah. And they're bigger than yours. Winning reality. My family's awesome. We all get along and there's no drama between anyone. We're just really spread out now, so we don't get together in big groups anymore. I know, I'm jealous of your family stories. I love those. Jacob Pete's at winning. I wouldn't want to visit you in Atlanta either. I'm content with the amount of holes in my body. Are you sure? Are you sure? You got to worry that he's going to put BB holes in you. And you said, I'm just starting my own little family. All 8 of us. There you go. I consider it 8 because my son-in-law's grandma lives next door. And she's a good grandma to my kids too. Oh, that's nice. That's so sweet. Jacob Pete's peace was never an option. Blood for the blood god. Yeah, pretty much. You had to be ready for battle. No matter what. My whole childhood was just me preparing myself for the attack. Because I didn't have any weapons. I had nothing. Nobody was standing up for me. So it's just like, all right, just learn to take it. Just learn to take the hit, Chell. Just make it through the night. Because they're leaving. This is your house. You live here. They just shut up. Some nights that's all I said all night long in my head. Shut up. It would block them out. And I had to concentrate on not speaking because you can't say shut up in front of your family because they get a little offended. But yeah, I'd have that internal monologue going. Just no, don't engage, ignore it. No, yep, that one hurt. That one hurt. Like, just let it go. Don't you dare cry. Don't you? I didn't realize how much of it showed on my face until my husband watched me and said, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "First of all, you're so quiet. Why? Like, what is wrong with you?" I was like, I don't, just keep your voice down. Like I don't want to draw fire. I'd be like, why? What are they going to do? And he did the worst thing he could do at one point. He put his arm around the back of my chair, just to put his arm around the back of my chair, not to put it around me. And the motion caught my uncle's eye. And damn it, his whole head swiveled. And I said, fuck. And he was like, what's the matter? I was like, here it comes. And like, he just mocked him mercilessly and then just moved on to me. And I told my husband, I said, I told you, shut up. I was like, I don't know why you had to move. He was like, is that what it's always like for you? I was like, yeah, that's what it's always like. I was like, that's why just shh. Like, just shh. And of course, that night ended with me getting punched in the back of the head. So it was just, it is what it is. But that was when I was afraid to fight back. You know, my grandmother was alive and I had a lot to lose. You know, I didn't want to be ostracized for the family when she was the head of it. So when she died, I knew that all those ties were going to be broken. 1, 2, 3. They instantly were broken the minute she died. And I no longer gave a fuck. I was like, all right, I took all y'all shit for so long. Nope. Now it's time to meet the real me. Like, because they had no idea who I was. My family still couldn't tell you if I was funny. If you ask them, be like, is Michelle funny? No, I've never heard her be funny ever. Because I don't try to make them laugh, because what's the point? It doesn't matter how good the joke or the bit or whatever, they won't laugh for spite. So there's just no point in trying. You can't beat a dead horse. There's no point. Jacob P., I just realized I was an hour behind. Disregard the last comment. Alrighty. Lady Awesome, I'm back after a couple phone calls and I'm up to live again. Nice. You catch up so quick. I have such a hard time catching up on streams. Lord. Some of them are easier because people like go so slow. I can put them at 2 times and it's still like a normal person's speech. But then you have people like Nick that if I turn him up to 1.25, I'm like, yeah, no, he sounds like a chipmunk. I can't do it. I can't do it. He sounds like Alvin. I'm just like, no. And you said we went cheap for now and just epoxied the living room. Hardwood is the end goal, though. Oh, that's awesome, though. Listen, as long as you don't have all those like carpets with all the allergens in them, you watch. You're gonna have less headaches, less sinus problems. I wish I could get rid of my rugs. They've been here over 20 years, and it's just like I know they're part of what's killing me. Chicken Pete's. It's Atlanta. I'm more worried about bullet holes. Yeah, we understood that. I mean, I don't know if anybody else got it. I understood it. I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, just, keep your head down. Jesus. Are you going to be walking through going, look at me? I have diamonds. Oh, what is this thing doing now? All right, I don't know what just happened, but my internet just went wonky for like 30 seconds. So I might have roboted or whatever. And he said there was a bucket of sand under. Oh my God, you had all that sand underneath the carpets? Ugh. Oh, now you're going to have to dust everything. That dust is going to get everywhere. Jacob, I nearly punched a broad in the back of the head once over family, funny enough. Grab my buddy by the collar. Good times. Yeah, no, it's not funny to ever punch anybody in the back of the head. I call that a sucker punch. If you sucker punch me, like that day, he was lucky I was not in a fighting mode. I was so relaxed and like whatever, because everybody was leaving. It's like all my adrenaline had just like, from being so anxious all night, it was just seeping out of me. And I was deflating fast. Like I hit the wall. And so I had nothing left. So when he did it, I was stunned. There was no reaction at all. At all. I literally just froze because I could not believe that happened. That's not my usual reaction. If you hit me anywhere, but like especially my face or in the back of the head, you better pray to God you knock me the fuck out, because that's instant red. Just a haze of red comes over and I just go insane. And yeah, we did it already. It was a long weekend. Oh, but so worth it. Come on, so worth it. You feel better without all that like there, and it probably makes the room look bigger. I guarantee it makes everything sound different, right? Unless you have throw rugs. Because you're going to have everything's going to be louder than it was before. The one thing I hated about the hardwood floors in my grandmother's house was the animals, the dogs especially. That clickety, 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 clickety. And then if they'd... But I mean, I could tell if there were... like Sparky would run and I would listen from the other room and I hear tickety, 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 boom. Like she didn't make it. She didn't make it. She slid. She's out. Safe. Yeah, no. And plus our hardwood floors, they creaked. It was very hard to sneak in at 2:00 in the morning when the floors creaked. You had to learn which boards, made noise, and had to learn to step a certain way. So I have very stealthy steps. I scare people all the time. They never hear me coming up behind them. It's hilarious. It is, and it looks good too. I'm excited. I bought rugs, but I haven't got them and the furniture back. I haven't got them and the furniture back, but it's done and clean. Oh, that's good. That's good. Just in time for Thanksgiving. I thought I saw on the pre-Thanksgiving or one of the streams for Expert that the White Rabbit said they're just having sandwiches. Like they're just having sandwiches. And girl, I am down with that. I would love to just have sandwiches, but I already bought the turkey. Well, I already got the turkey and got all the stuffings and fixings and cornbread and like everything's on the list to be made. So some of my cheated and just bought it because I just don't have the energy. But making the turkey is going to be fun. My son's looking forward to learning how to do that. His first one was last year. He did good. He did real good. He almost dropped it, which was not fun. I was waiting for him to lift it the right way. No, he went for the easy way with the plastic thing on the legs, and turkey slipped right out. And he learned that mama can catch real quick when she has to. He was like, you got great reflexes. I was like, get the fucking pan. Like, cause I caught the damn turkey. I had my one hand up the friggin' ass of the turkey. Cause that was the only way I could think to grab it underneath, but to try to get it by grab it by the hole. So that's what I did. I impaled it and I saved it from the floor. But yeah, he won't do that again. He was like, that was impressive, but oh my God, I think I aged. I aged a lot. I was like, you? What the hell? But yeah, he looks forward to the turkey. He's not even a huge turkey person, but he looks forward to all the leftovers. He's like, I'm making a sandwich. I'm making another sandwich. I'm gonna make turkey pot pie. I'm gonna make this. I'm like, make whatever you want. I don't care. He made macaroni and cheese last week. It was so good. Killed my stomach, but so good. It was tasty, but it was just oily because he put so much pepperoni in it. And it was just my stomach was like, really? You're going to pay for this, bitch. And I sure did. Sure did. Jacob said my wife had to literally hold me back so I didn't chase her down. Probably would have caught a Minecraft charge. Mm-hmm. So for the better, I guess. Oh, believe me, I'm right there with you. Right there with you. Like my grandmother's like, she said, I can't believe that you just sat there. And she looked at my husband. She said, I can't believe you just stood there. He's like, I didn't think I saw what I thought I saw. He was like, I couldn't believe that I saw that. I was like, well, whatever, you beta bitch. But I mean, I called him a pussy instead. Now I would call him a beta bitch. But then he was like, stomping around all angry. I was like, oh, it's real convenient. You're angry and ready to defend me now that he's gone. I love all these men that get courageous when the play is over and the person's gone and they can't go after them. Because I'll fuck with them. I'm like, well, I have their address if you're really upset. Like, if you really want to confront them, we can go. Watch how quick those balls shrivel right up. Like, nope. Because I'm bitch enough, I'll go. Like Miguel knows he's in Florida. If he fucks with me too much, I will come down to Florida, kick his ass, and come home. It just depends on how bad he fucks with me. But he knows I'm highly capable of it. I mean, I haven't flown down to Florida, but I got up in the middle of the night at 3:00 in the morning, drove all the way to where he was living, let myself in, kicked in his door basically because he had it locked and nobody had a key. So I basically kicked it in at 7 months pregnant and just screamed at him and hit him and whatever. Because in my pregnancy deluded head, I had a dream that he cheated on me. Never mind. Then a couple days later, I found out he actually did. But it was like, all right. I mean, we were very volatile. We were not good for one another. I mean, he wasn't that way, but he could set me off. He can make me be the worst version of myself. I had zero respect for him. And after the thing with Donnie at the house with my husband, I had zero respect for my husband as well. Like if you can't step up and be a man, I mean, you took vows to, be with me and love and honor me. That's not honoring me. You're not protecting me. You're not doing any of that stuff. But I'm supposed to, stand up for you. And I'm supposed to, somebody just physically hit me and you did nothing. You giant piece of shit. Oh, I'm a very passive person. I don't give a fuck. You knew what you were marrying. You knew how I was. So it's like, I don't know. I just felt he was very weak and cowardly. And I can't stand cowardice. I can't stand people who can't own up to the things that they've said or done. I don't like liars. I really don't like liars. And I don't like people who can't man up and do the job. You want me to see you as this big, strong, masculine male, right? But you're the biggest bitch I've ever met. So what is there for me to respect? I'm trying here. You're not giving me anything to work with. So yeah, so cowardice is a huge turnoff for me. I can't deal with cowards. I just can't. It's fine to be afraid of things and afraid of people. That's not cowardice. That's fear. Fear stems from something. When you're a coward, it's just because you just don't have any fucking fight or dignity or believe in anything. Like you're just, ugh. But I mean, that's again my opinion. And it's the same for women as it is for men in my mind. Like if you're not willing to protect what's yours, what good are you? I have no respect for you, male or female. So, I mean, I don't want anybody to think I'm putting this just on men. I'm not. But I mean, point of fact, he was my husband. So it was like, kind of expected him to step up, but no. My daughter and I are cooking together. This is Enya. My daughter and I are cooking together. That's sweet. That would cause World War IV in my house. She's hosting and doing the big things. Oh, that's nice. While I tell her how to and help. Just remember, be gentle. Be gentle. I'm doing the potato salad, green bean casserole, ham, and candied yams. Nice. And you left myself. My daughter called her husband a bitch just playing around. And my granddaughter does this thing where she says, "Is that a whatever item she's holding?" And she said, "Is that a bitch?" And we almost died. I love little kids when they try to figure shit out. I know you're not supposed to let kids curse or whatever, but oh my God, they're really adorable though when they say it. I love that little girl in the clip that says, "Somebody bit my head," and she was like, "Who was it?" She was like, "It's Chucky, fucking Chucky." And she's so cute. She's so cute, and I'm just like, "Oh, that's right, it's fucking Chucky." Fucking Chucky. Oh, she's adorable. Oh my goodness. But yeah, kids should not curse. This is not an approval of kids cursing, but it's adorable sometimes. It really is. I love the way little kids tell you off. One of my favorite clips that I watch all the time. I go looking for it just to make myself feel better. It's the little girl she's trying to put like the seatbelt in for the car seat. And her dad's like, "You need help?" She's like, "You worry about yourself. You worry about yourself. Worry about yourself." And I'm like, oh my God, I feel her. Just like, dude, I'm struggling. Leave me alone. If you're not just going to come over here and do it for me, shut up. Like, just shut up. You mind your business. You worry about yourself. She was funny. She just came out, "You worry about yourself." Winnie showed a clip this weekend of a little kid that the father's like, "Are you tired? You want to go to sleep? Huh? You want to go to sleep in the back? It's okay. You can go to sleep." And then as soon as he said, "You can go to sleep," the kid was like, "Honk," right out. It was like the light switch. I was like, oh, I have children somewhere? Because God, that's me. It never used to be, but now it is. You can be in the middle of saying something, man. I'm just, like, just gone. He has to always, are you with me? Come back. Like, pay attention. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I woke up. Yeah, and my daughter put her hand to her mouth and was like, well, I guess I have to watch my mouth more. Yep. Yep. The first time my mother realized that she had to watch what she said around me, I was like 2 or 3. And my grandmother, I was visiting my grandmother while my mother was working an office job. And my grandmother dropped something and she said something like, oh, damn it, or whatever, because she didn't want to say anything really bad. And I said, no, damn it, Grandma. Bafungal. Who taught you that? She was insane. I was like, Mommy, she waited. As soon as my mother walked in that door, she said, these are the things you teach your daughter? And she was like, what are you talking about? She was like, and she told her, she dropped whatever, and she said, like, damn it or dang it or whatever the hell. And she said, and your daughter said, no, Grandma, bafungal. And apparently you're the one who taught her. I got such a dirty look, and I was like, what? You say it all the time. And she was like, Michelle, shut up. Michelle, shut up. Shut up. Don't talk anymore. Okay. Like, but my grandmother had already asked me all the questions. Like, my mother, she doesn't understand. Like, grandma's a professional. She got all the information out of me during interrogation that lasted all day, well before my mother showed up from work. So my mother was not aware that she had all the proof she needed to convict. She wanted the confession. Typical of my family. We have all the evidence, but we're just waiting for you. Like, really? No. Really, that happened? No, really do. Continue with your story because it's very amusing. Keep going. You know, because it's like, go ahead. I'm just giving you rope. You're good. Here you go. Go ahead. Go ahead. Climb that ladder too while you're at. Throw it over. You're doing well. And then when they finish their story, you go, oh, so I shouldn't believe anything of this, anything of what, any of this, any of what? Oh, you want evidence? Here we go. Proof. And they're just like, why'd you let me go on? That's how it turns out. Not, oh, I'm so sorry. It's why did you let me go on if you knew? First of all, we always know. Always. We might not have the specifics, but once we get that feeling, we know. Because most people are not as good at hiding things as they think they are, especially when they're with somebody who knows them and who cares to know them. Like, it's damn near impossible for me lately to pull anything over on freaking anybody, apparently. But that's because I've let people so close to me. You know, they know who I am. They see the little changes in tone or in, you know, like the way I talk, how often I talk. And they're just like, yeah, right? Like, they test the water. You okay? What's going on? What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? Like, it's pokey. Because the people that are close to me aren't afraid to poke the bear. They know I'm just a hibernating bear. I'm not going to bite. Not them. Somebody else, I'll maul. But them, no. They can poke. I'll just growl real loud every once in a while. That's about all I'm capable of with them. Sad. I'm a defenseless bear. Like Yogi. But how you doing there, Bobo? But yeah, no, it's my mother. She definitely was just like, no, that's the only thing. My grandma was like, really? So Michelle doesn't know how to say it. And she went down the whole list of all the curses I knew. It was a lot. Not all in Italian either. I knew some Polish curses that I no longer remember. I knew tons of, you know, like regular American curses. I knew a couple British curses because we had some British guys that were in the motorcycle gang that, you know, were in the flea market with us because that's the type of people my father hung out with. Weirdos. Like, he hung out with motorcycle gangs. He hung out with coin collectors. He hung out with Eddie Adams, the Pulitzer Prize winning photojournalist who took pictures, I think it was in Cambodia. Just, they went and they hung out at a party one time and spent like hours with Bob Guccione just shooting the shit. He could hang out with anybody. He knew so many different people. He had so many different like drug connections and everything else. So he was constantly like a mover and a shaker, but he just didn't move. He just shook. But, like jelly. But he was very charismatic. People adored him. I never understood it. They were drawn to him. Like I've only ever seen maybe twice before in my life. Once recently. Just he was a complete sham, and yet people adored him until they got burned. So he would cycle through friends. So even in like the couple years that I got stuck, being in his presence, you figure like 9 years. You wouldn't think somebody could do that much damage in 9 years, but apparently he can. He always had new rotas, new yes men that would surround him, because that's all they were. I mean, my father ruled the roost no matter where he went. His word was that was it. And he loved to play like he was like this benevolent fucking person. He was this amazing bear-like Indian spirit come down to like bring people happiness and teach them about themselves and have a sense of community and everything a cult leader says. That's what my father did. He was good at it. He was so good at it. People would hand over money, like hand over fist, they would give him money. And I never understood it, because it was like he doesn't do anything. When I got like much older and I was paying my own bills, I was like, how did he do this? Go through his entire life and never have a real job? Because he grifted. He grifted off this person. And, hey, I need this, or hey, I need that. It was always the sympathy money. He would get the sympathy money and the sympathy, votes, because it was always, oh, I'm this great, huge, dynamic guy, but I'm really humble. Just come love me and I'll love you back. And it was that promise of, like, I'll give you a place where you fit in and you're welcome. And I'm never going to shame you. And I'm never going to, I'll protect you. And that's how he drew these people in. These broken people who were looking for a place to fit in. And he would provide that. And eventually the mask would slip. He would get greedy again, or he'd be annoyed that, okay, now you're asking for too much. Like, now you're just annoying. Like, or he'd lose sight of somebody and he'd be like, why are they hanging out? He'd get jealous. You can't be friends with somebody else. No, you're in my inner circle. Like, his immediate friends knew all his like bad points. They knew where the drugs were. They knew, how he paid his bills. They knew what he did to me. They knew what he did to other kids, so they had all this dirt on him, yet they were afraid of him, because they never wanted to be the one that he turned on. So he had investment in them, keeping them close. That was beneficial to him. And he would suffocate them, like to the point where they never were allowed to leave the apartment. On weekends that I spent there, like I told you, I slept on the floor. He gave me like just a little hand towel to sleep on, or a blanket on the floor by the animals, because there was no space, because it was wall to wall people, because he had to have his ass kissed 24/7. The man could not be alone. And it made him like do desperate things, but he would wear people out, or people would they would wear on him, and like they outlived their usefulness to him. So he would turn on them, and they never saw it coming, because they were like, they believed that he was this like amazing person. He would never hurt a fly. And then he'd turn around and be completely cruel and vicious. And, he'd be able to play it in his favor every fucking time. The man was a genius at being a narcissist, at being a malignant narcissist. And I believe he was a covert narcissist, because most people didn't believe it. But there were people that he'd be like, here I am. He would come out with his real face just because he knew how terrifying it was. But that was always, I mean, I'm sure Wooden could correct me and tell me that's just, What'd you say? There's a Discord for that? Whatever. I don't know what that means, honey. But yeah, no, he was always. Oh, I know what that. Stupid. I told you I got no coffee. The synapses are not firing. But yeah, he was amazing at it. And he was nothing to look at. He had shit long hair. He had, oh, well, let me not describe him because that would not go over well. But I mean, he looked like the devil and I hated him. And people loved him. And I never understood it because he was evil and they couldn't see it until he turned on them. They would always break. That's why he had so many wives. Like he'd get to a certain point where they'd be like, oh, everything's great. Eventually you have a moment of clarity in between the drug haze. They'll push you to a point where you're just like, I can't do this. What am I doing here? Like you question everything. And I saw like a lot of his girlfriends and wives go through that when I was little because they all, I mean, come on, he had a pattern. He went after women that were broken. He went after women with low self-esteem. And he went after those that were looking for somebody strong that they could lean on because they had little kids. Maybe they had an ex who was abusive or they had a bad run-in with men in the past or whatever. And he would swoop in like that white knight and, oh, baby, I got all the answers for you and I'll take care of you. And, oh, I don't care how many kids you have. Bring them all. It's so great. Yeah. That should have been a red flag for every friggin' woman that it was like, oh, you got 5 kids? How young are they? Not how old are they? How young are they? That's the way he used to ask the question. I heard him ask it more than once that way. And it didn't hit me for decades that was odd. That was an odd phrasing. Not how old are your kids? How young are your kids? That's when, if somebody ever asks you, how young are your kids? You pack your shit up, you pack your kids up, and you run the other fucking direction as fast as possible. I don't give a crap if they're a billionaire, especially if they're a billionaire. You run. You run. You run like the devil is on your ass. That is not somebody to be trusted. I don't give a shit what his history says, what his patterns say, what his friends say. You go with your instincts. If he asks, how young are your kids? You run. That is a... But like I said, my father he was evil. There was no redemption, no light in him at all. And I don't really know how we got to this part, but I guess it was like the commune living or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how we got here. I guess it's been on my mind, and I had to go there. But when his mask would slip, nobody was prepared for it because he created this impenetrable image of himself to people. And he was the main promoter of that narrative, of that, like, that image. Like, he made sure that that's the image of him in your head. He made sure to tell you what you thought of him. And he did it in such a way that you thought it was your idea. Or he'd do it like reverse engineer it. He would set it up so that you came up with the compliment that he was looking for. You could lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. That son of a bitch made every horse drink every time. Every time. He was so good at it. So good at manipulating it. Those are the people that I'm afraid of in this world. Those, I wish the world had less of them. Because it's one thing to make mistakes. It's one thing to misspeak. It's one thing to just not like somebody. But to be like he was, to not care that you're destroying people's lives. He destroyed life after life that came into his sphere of influence. Like, and he didn't care. No remorse at all. He didn't even give it a thought. He didn't care that these little kids were going to suffer their whole lives. I mean, I know quite a few like of the mothers. I still talk to them. Not now. I talked to them up till about 10 years ago when I was like, fuck this. It was too stressful. All their kids have really bad drug problems. Couple of them unalive themselves because they couldn't take the memories. And it wasn't just my father that did it to them. Apparently they got passed around. It's something at least I didn't have to go through. When it comes to like the rough stuff, like the harder stuff to deal with. But he passed them around. Apparently they were, reward tickets. And it makes me sick. It's always made me sick. But I mean, it makes me sick that he was allowed to exist in the same universe that the rest of us did. I don't know anybody as evil as my father. I'm sure there are people out there way more evil, but I personally don't know any. And I hope to never meet anybody that even come close to him. And that's why I think if I ever met the devil, I don't think I'd be that nervous. Because I feel like I met him, face to face all the time that I was growing up. You can look in somebody's eye and see nothing. There was no light in him. None. He was terrifying. And that wasn't from a little girl's point of view. I'm 49 years old. If there was such a thing as a boggart, like in Harry Potter, the thing that turns into the thing you fear most, it will always be my father. Always. It will always turn into him. And I don't think anybody looking at him would understand it because they don't really know how black his soul is, how dead he is inside. Yeah, it's like ice goes through. Well, nothing goes through his veins now. He's dead. Yay! But he's just not one of those people who I think should have ever walked the planet. I think he should have been a swallow or something that hit the floor. And I would happily have gone, being not born. That would have been fine with me. He would have saved the world a lot of trouble with him not coming around, like him not being born. I think the world would have been a better place. But there are tons of people out there like that, and we're discovering more and more of them. And we're discovering them in our own families. Where you think, oh, this person would never hurt a fly. And then you're like, holy shit, they're living a whole double life. What the fuck? 357. Hi, honey. He said, nerds. Hope you're having a great I'm not allowed to say the grieving word. I don't like saying the grieving word anymore because everybody's sick or, it's like dying and I don't want to think about it anymore. Like I want just positivity. Awesome with the swallow flame. Listen, if my father had been a swallow, there'd be a lot less people, miserable on this earth. There'd be a lot more people on this earth. Although he fathered he swears he only fathered me and Mikey, but I know there has to be more. There has to be. That man loved himself too much not to try to reproduce his image. Loved himself way too much. And I mean, why not keep having kids when you don't take care of them? It's easy. Shoot your load and move on after a couple of years. Pretend that you're like great father. He always liked to pretend that he's so proud to be a father. Look at my little girl. Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she pretty? She's so pretty. And yet he was a piece of shit. He was a drug dealing piece of shit who had a taste for young kids. And he didn't need to exist. In fact, I wish old people like him just didn't exist. The world would be a better place. Be a hell of a lot safer, I can tell you that. But yeah, back to family. Like that's my family. That's what I come from. So when you think I'm like angry or I'm too defensive, try to keep in mind, I've been defending myself against that all my life, even just the memory of it. Now the memory has no power. He's got nothing on me anymore. Nothing. Now I deal with the other shit, like I deal with the trauma with, almost losing Katie how many times? The trauma with actually being dead a couple times. Things that I didn't have time to address before, that they're not pressing, but it's better to deal with them than to not deal with them. So it's, I'm always a work in progress. But as far as family goes, I don't think we're beholden to our family when they're as toxic as, let's say, mine are. I think it's up to you. It's up to what you can deal with. It's what, you want your kids exposed to. It depends on the degree to which it happens. Some people just have, a couple assholes in their family, and, you learn to avoid them, ignore them, whatever. And some people, everybody's toxic. 357. Speaking of, I need to text my baby boy and let him know daddy loves him. Aw. That's sweet. Yeah, my son's father texted him on his birthday. And then he texted me. And he was like, Connor's not answering his text. Could you tell him I said happy birthday? I was like, yeah, will do. I asked him, I was like, did you? And he was like, yeah, I got a text. I'm not talking to him. There's fuck him. I was like, okay. I was like, you only get the one father. He was like, I don't care. And you really don't. And he came to that conclusion all by himself. And I'm done pushing that relationship. I did more promoting and rah-rah cheerleading for that goddamn relationship to happen than I did for anything else. And I did the same thing for Katie and her father. And neither one of them stepped up and realized what amazing kids they had. I can't make them realize these kids are not going to, they're not going to grow up and be like in their 30s and 40s, like, oh, yeah. Oh, you want a relationship now? Sure. They might have a relationship with them, but I don't see them being all forgiving about it. I know my children. Katie, she'll look like she forgives you with the smiles and everything, but those digs will keep coming, man. She knows how to bring them up at just the right time. It always makes me proud when she does something like that, because I'm like, oh, she is female. She does know how to, be a plumber and bring old shit up. That's great. Because at least she's got something. My son's the one I worry about, because I don't see him folding. I don't see him being forgiving, and I do want him to be forgiving. I don't want him to be mad, as an adult. I don't want him to be angry or resentful. Like I said, I want him to be kind. His father didn't teach him kindness. I tried. I did the best I could. And he's a very giving boy. He's not a man yet. He's my little man. But even though he's like a foot taller than me. Well, almost. But he's a good kid. She's a good kid. He's a good kid. I did the best I could with what I had. And did I fuck up a lot? Sure did. Sure did. Could I have been better? Probably, but I don't know how. Like I literally gave them my whole life. But I would never put them through what I went through as a kid. I would never force them to be around relatives who belittled them or made them feel ashamed of just existing. Like that's not what you do. So just do me a favor. Just watch out for your kids, because we don't always see the things that people do behind the scenes, because they do it on the quiet. They do sneaky little ways of getting their barbs in, or like trying to influence the kids. Just be careful. And if anything, remember that it takes a lot to forgive somebody. It's okay if you can't. You got to learn to forgive yourself for that too. You're allowed to have feelings. You're allowed to be hurt. And you're allowed to say, I don't want you to hurt me anymore. If you have to have a private conversation with them or talk to somebody in your family you can go to, somebody you can trust, and say, look, I'm not comfortable. I don't like the way they treat me. I don't like the way they treat my kids or my husband or my wife or whatever. I say, it bothers me. And I've kept my mouth shut, but I'm not going to. Or I don't want to be around them. Or you need to tell them to stop because it's not funny. It's just aggravating and hurtful. Sometimes people don't realize what they do. They think they're being funny. And I've seen that so much because they genuinely don't want to hurt you, but they're thinking it's a joke. They don't realize, okay, I've been the target of every fucking joke, my whole life. One more is going to break me. And then they go with the joke and you just like explode. They're like, what did I say? Like, what did I do? Everybody's got a breaking point. Just make sure that yours doesn't come during Thanksgiving dinner because you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be the table flipper. You don't want to be the one that throws the turkey out the door. Oh God, so many weird Thanksgivings in my family. You don't want to be the one who accidentally on purpose spills red wine all over white carpeting. Just don't be that person. Just be the better person. Tell them to go fuck themselves and be done with it. Just remember, you're allowed to have your feelings. And if anybody's like alone or whatever on Thanksgiving and you're not feeling great, or if you have something you want to say or you want to vent or whatever, you all know my Discord. Just hit me up. I'll answer you. I'm here. I highly doubt my mother's going to come over because she just chooses not to. It's just another day, Michelle. Okay. So if anything, if you're feeling any type of way, it's okay. I did this last year. Do it again this year. I'll be around. You'll either catch me in Discord or maybe I'll do a stream. I don't know. I could do a pop-up stream. I could just wind up in somebody else's chat. I don't know. But don't feel bad. I know people get very depressed at this time. Don't do it. Don't let yourself get so down. Join a chat. Find one of us. Somebody is bound to be on. And if we're not, like I said, hit me up on Discord and I'll get back at you. And maybe we can go into voice chat and just chill. But on that note, I'm going to go because I'm super tired because I had a lot to think about throughout the night. So I think I slept like 2 hours. That's no bueno. It's not good. It does not make a good Shelly. 3:57. I'll be eating Xanax with vodka and some pumpkin pie. Oh, that's nice. I have all three of those as well. So, but I'm by myself, so I'll be fine. I actually have some high school friends coming into town. Should be fun. That sounds awesome. 3:57. Aw, that's nice. Yeah, I'm surrounded by high school people, so it's like I see them enough. Mike, hey, how you doing, babe? What's up? We're just heading out. It's been 2.5 hours and I'm beat. That's more than I slept. So I'm listening, but had to lurk off. Love you guys, ladies in chat. Love you, Charlotte. Love you too, Anya. Thanks so much for dropping by and hanging out. You guys were great. I will have something for Wednesday. If you want, give me suggestions in the comments or whatever. When in reality, I have nothing going on. Maybe we'll do a stream. Maybe. We shall see. Always happy to stream with you. You know that. So anyway, so I'm going to go. I don't know what to talk about on Wednesday. If you guys don't send me different, comments with suggestions, then I'm going to have to come up with something all by my lonesome. And we don't know what I'll come up with. It could be uplifting. It could be depressing. It could be scary. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I have a feeling the next 2-3 days are going to be hella interesting. So looking forward to talking to you guys later. I love you. And let's see.
Good luck. We're all counting on you.
Just remember, and Lady Awesome, I hope you're paying attention.
I deserve good things. I am entitled to my share of happiness. I refuse to beat myself up. I am an attractive person. I am fun to be with.
Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
On that note, have a good one, guys. I will see you in the funny papers. Bye.